What is going on, you guys? It is Wednesday, 7:30. As always, we are back. This is the Geek Saga. I am here. Well, it says Eugene and David. David is here with us in spirit. Isn't that right, David? He's here, but he's just not here with me. So I forgot to change that, but that's all right. He might pop in. He's got a phone call he had to handle. So you know what? That's just how it is here with us, especially when we're stuck here in this base and all that other stuff. But the Geek Saga is two salty veterans that are absolute huge geeks. We love everything: comic books, video games, movies, TV shows, you name it. We love it when it comes to the geekdom. This is what we do and talk about here, is all things geek. So anyways, we've got a great show today because I'm really excited. So last week we had two of the guys from Savage Crucible, which I completely, and I wish he would have corrected me, and I'm probably going to still say his name wrong, but Style. But they were great on the show. Both those guys, we had a lot of fun with them. We told them 30 minutes. We'll be done with you guys and you guys can move on. We went an hour and a half. If you guys weren't here last week for that show, we had so much fun talking about so many things. I mean, we went down a ton of rabbit holes talking about so many, because we're all about the same age. So we got into it, like the 80s cartoons, 90s. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. And we talked about Savage Crucible. And this week we have another one, the man himself from Savage Crucible, which Tim kept saying, he's the one that you got to talk to him. We're going to talk to him. So Regina over on Instagram. Hi. Look, I'm really excited too, because now today I set us up to where I have multiple screens. I can see what's going on Instagram, and I could see what's going on right here in front of me. So I'm really excited. But let's start off by, this light just makes me look like a Smurf kind of. I should have changed the light. But anyways, let's get started with us talking about Ulanzi. They are an affiliate of ours. So this blue light, which I should have, if I would have went another color, I think it wouldn't have been good. But it is part of Ulanzi's line of lights, because they have a lot of great lights, a lot of great tripods, a lot of great like camera accessories and all this other great stuff. So if you guys are looking for some great things, go to Ulanzi. Actually, go onto our Instagram, check out our affiliate code, click on that. When you click on that and you purchase from them, it helps us out. So the thingamajigger here just kind of made a noise. Whatever. This place is haunted. It is what it is. But check out their stuff. Next, we've got the Roosevelts. Great shirts. I'm not wearing mine today. I'm wearing I threw on whatever I could get up here. I was in a hurry, but they have some great shirts. A lot of awesome like licenses to like Disney, Marvel, Universal stuff. They've got like a whole line of different things that with great shirts, great prints, great fit, great stretch to them. They look good on most people. I don't think they look that great on me. I don't know. I've never been very good with button-up shirts, but these button-up shirts are actually really good. So if you guys get a chance, check out their site and check out all the different things that they have. All right, Wild Bill's Old Fashioned Soda Pop, guys, check that out. They're a veteran-owned, veteran-operated soda company. It's great soda. If you go to different cons, they're always the bigger cons. So like at LA Comic Con, they were there. WonderCon, they're out there. San Diego, they're at a lot of the big cons, but they have some great soda. Check them out. I usually I haven't ordered any. I need to get some more. I kind of ran out, but it's really great. I think their best flavor is the root beer, but that's just my personal favorite. Check them out. They've got a lot of great flavors, but you can also buy one of their cups, which I don't have here. You buy it at the con, and then you can pay $7 and you get all day refills. You can take it home, and if you go to another con and they're there, they will honor the whole $7 again, and you pay $7 and you get all day refills. So check them out, guys. A lot of great flavors with them. And next, we got Renegade Game Studios. Renegade Game Studios is an affiliate of ours. They've got a lot of great games. And again, also a lot of great IPs like Transformers, G.I. Joe, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, My Little Pony, all great games. that are either deck builders or RPGs. So they also have their own line of RPGs, and it's a for me to go through all the lists, but they're another affiliate of ours. Go onto our Instagram, check them out, click on it, and you can go there. And again, you purchase from them, it helps us out. So yeah, see how it is. All right, guys. So that's it for them. So we also want to give a shout out. Oh man, then you see my big old face again. We also want to give a shout out to another great group of people that we work with that were gracious enough to help us to get into LA Comic-Con, and actually we're going to be doing more events with them, and that is Project Wish Upon a Star. Darren, Veronica, they were just out at a mall this past weekend where they did oh my god, I forgot the name of the event, but it looked like they had a lot of fun. They were selling their bears, they were giving raffles away. They got a lot of great things, and what they do is they go and try to take pediatric cancer patients and bring the Comic-Con experience to them or take them to the Comic-Con event, and they get a chance to meet different famous people that are there, signatures and all this stuff. It's a really great charity. Go onto our Instagram. We have a link on there also. Donate today. Help them out to get this charity going. And I can't wait to work with them again on the next event. And actually, you know what? That reminds me. I actually got to hit up Darren to say, how's it going? If he's on here, what's going on, Darren? But I don't think he's here. But holy crap, guys. Welcome to the show. Like, I'm seeing a lot of new faces, or not faces, but a lot of new names. And welcome to the show, guys. This is really cool. Man, he just said that he doesn't bring all the boys to the playground, but yet I'm seeing all these people coming on. So I'm really excited. So I think that's pretty much it. And I actually got it done in less time than normal, because I'm probably forgetting somebody. You know what? God, before I forget, We Can Be Heroes. Guys, check out We Can Be Heroes. They are a comic book shop that is out in Chatsworth. They were on a show called A Toy Store Near You. A lot of great guys that work there. Julio, Donald, JR, all these guys you'll see on the show. Check it out. It's on Amazon. It's on season 6 of the show. But also go to the comic book store. It's a great store. If you live in the Chatsworth area or in the LA area, head out there. Check out the store. They always have some great deals that are going on. You can go on to their Instagram on, it's on Tuesdays. They do Donnie's Doozies, where it's like they'll put the comic up and they'll give you a price. You can actually either take the price that they're selling it at or offer them another price and they'll work with you. But they're great guys. Love the place. I was just there yesterday, picked up my next set of comics, which I picked up the latest issue of Duke. If you guys haven't read that, check it out. It's actually a really good comic. And then the other comic was Beneath the Trees. Oh my God, Beneath the Tree. It rhymes too, but it's actually a really good comic. And they're on the 3rd run of that thing. So check that out. So there you go. We Can Be Heroes. Check them out. They're actually going to be on after the show. If you guys want to go onto their Instagram, they're going to be doing their nightly 2 Guys 1 Box show where they actually put up comics and you could offer them, they'll tell you how much they want for it, but you could actually offer them less. And they've also got a lot of great comics. So enough of that. All right. So here we go. You know what? I think Rob's heard enough of my babbling. It's time. So I will bring him in. Guys from Savage Crucible, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Ron Pulse. Oh, Pulse, wait. I got you. There you are. What's going on?
What's going on?
Normally I have this great intro with Eddie Murphy and all this other stuff. And because I was driving up today, I feel bad that I kind of gypped you on that and didn't get a chance to make your intro that way.
Well, the applause made me think back to college.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I used to. I went to undergrad at Birmingham Southern, and it was literally next door to this historic football field called Legion Field. It's still there, but the University of Alabama used to play there. It's in Birmingham, and the university's in Tuscaloosa. Anyway, and when I was in school there, they actually started to phase out Alabama playing at Legion Field. But it was this is probably too much information. But sorry.
No, go for it, man.
it was really awesome to be in college and have some young lady in your room and have 100,000 people cheering you on. Because it sounded like they're like right next door, right? So
So you're just going, and it's like, yes, they're loving this.
when I heard the applause, I was like, wow, that was a memory I hadn't thought about in a long time.
Nice. Well, I mean, I don't think everybody's had the experience of having everything that they were doing in the room with a young lady applauded to and cheered for, which, man, that would have actually been pretty fun. Just
yeah, highly recommend it if you can,
Oh my gosh. So guys, everybody, all of you guys that are on here, I'm sure have been waiting for this, for Rob to come on. So Rob, welcome to the show. And honestly, since we've met you and the guys from Savage Crucible at LA Comic-Con, like everything that we see posted up on Instagram, we're just like, man, we want to get our hands on these things. Because when we saw them at LA Comic-Con, we were having fun just looking at them and, moving them around and touch them, and then seeing how detailed and how I mean, you guys have definitely got something going good with those figures.
Thank you. I think we were all ecstatic. LA Comic-Con was the first time that we got those paint deco samples back from the factory, so it was quite exciting. Gotten more since, and it's fun. We're still, hopefully I'll have an announcement here next 2 weeks, I guess, maybe on a really firmed up date that they can leave the factory. We had a hiccup with the packaging and Chinese New Year. So the figures are made, but that kind of, you can't, you got to be in a package, right? So
so they kind of took a break, and then they're like, oh, well, we'll get back to them.
Yeah, and so they're ramping up. So it's good. But most people don't realize that in the manufacturing process that multiple factories can do different parts. So like the packaging gets done in a plant. That's all they do is packaging, and like the tooling, lots of the tooling that gets done, those big metal slabs or something, not that big for toys, but they can be, but those are actually usually done in a different factory. That's all they do is just create tooling plates because they have milling machines there. So,
wow.
Just, different concepts that people aren't familiar with if you've never done it. And so all it takes is one little thing just to kind of go off a little bit to push you back in schedule, but we still feel really good where we're at.
Well, I know that, like, see, we had Tim last week, and he was like, I'm so excited because we've got a lizard man. It's like, that's all you're excited for. But he was like, I'm going to have like 100 lizard men, because I've never had a lizard man figure before. So he got me excited for your lizard man. So I'm kind of, looking forward to seeing that one.
I appreciate it. Yeah, no, I think everybody's gonna be excited. We're happy with them. Obviously, I'm a perfectionist at times, and I am really, really pleased with what the factory was able to do. There's some little tweaks that we want to make for future waves, constant improvement. That's the only way we get better, right? So, but overall, I couldn't be happier with that first wave coming out the way it has. So
that's pretty awesome. But so, Rob, how did all this get started with Savage Crucible? Because everybody kept saying you're the man to ask this question to, because the other guys were just like, I just kind of started painting, and so how did this all get started?
Well, I guess it depends on whether you ask my dad or my mother how I got, but no, in all honesty, I guess what really started it was the MAFC, which stands for myactionfigurecustoms.com, and that is a 3D printing business that I started 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I think. And I just started out with one printer, and I was just I wanted to customize my own toys, and I just bought a 3D printer, and I was paying some sculptors to make some parts for me, and I printed them myself. And I'm sure everybody that's on here has heard this story 1,000 times by now, but I was on break at Christmas. I was like, I never made a website. Let's make a website for fun. And I made a website, and I just put my sculpts up for sale. And I was just thinking, I'll sell like 5 or 6 of them, and it'll kind of really help me recoup the cost that I'm paying the sculptors or whatever. And that really took off way more than I thought it would. I think within like 3 months, I had like 10 printers, and
Jeez.
we went up to. I had to. The ex-wife made me move out of the house. No, she out of the house. So I had to get an office shop space, and we got up to like 30 printers at one point, and yeah, we had like over 600, 700 parts that we had available for customizing. And then I started working on all these different sculptors and designers, and it just simply became an idea of like, well, why don't we just make our own figures instead of just making parts for figures? And that's really what started it.
So how did you get the team of guys just the team of people that you have now together, or how'd they come together?
Wow. Time and just running into people. Most of them all have some kind of background in customization. So a lot of them, in fact, Matt, you met at the show. He actually used to cast parts going all the way back to like Motu Classics. And so his castle, his gray skull, I can't think of the name of it, but he was pretty well known. Matt actually is a practical effects guy for movies.
Oh, wow.
If you ever watch Prometheus, like he did that suit, the
Oh,
Hobbit,
really?
Dog Soldiers, like you just keep going. He'll do some low key flex and just mention some movie he worked on. He's been working in movies for like 30 years at this point.
Jeez.
So like hand sculpting his thing. Kevin DeLise, German sculptor, did some hand sculpts as well. And so they were sculptors that I reached out to, and they started doing some work. Lee J. Robinson in Australia was another guy that started sculpting. GD Lake started doing some sculpting on the side too, reached out to him. Tim and Nikki did a lot of fantastic custom paint jobs, and that's how they became relatively well known on Instagram and places like that. So just collaboration and things like that. That was sort of the nature. And I think Rubis, who's a graphic artist out of Greece, pretty well known in Greece for his comics, he just one day he just liked our stuff and just started drawing some doodles for us. Like, wow, you're really good. I had no idea he was a comic book artist. And I was like, wow, you're really good. Could you do some of these? And he's like, yeah. And then we find out like he's like this prolific publisher and all this kind of stuff.
Wow.
So, yeah.
It's
crazy. Just run into a lot of guys like that.
And when you really think about how small, especially because with Instagram, like all our social media that we have now, you end up finding out that this is actually a really small world, and you run into either at the cons or just like you said, online. He saw what you did, and you were like, yeah, can you do this? And it just took off from there. It's just crazy how this whole, I guess, community is. And then it's also pretty tight knit.
It truly is. And I think everybody can appreciate like a really good toy. I think we all have our imagination from our youth. And, I'd say that all the time. Everyone thinks of Optimus Prime like he looked in the cartoon. We don't ever remember how awful the toy actually looked. Because it did look awful. Like it was really awful.
Yeah. Now it looks really awful to us.
It looks really awesome. Yeah. All the ones they do now look really awesome. Yeah.
No, but like to adult us, we're like, God, we were just playing with a box with 2 legs and like boxy arms. But back then we were like, oh my God, this is Optimus Prime. Yep. This is the greatest toy ever. And we're like, it was horrible. But we had so much fun with it.
We did. We really did. Really did.
But your toys though, your guys' figures are freaking awesome. And I keep saying that, and throughout the last interview, that's all I kept saying was like, man, your guys' figures are awesome. But they really are, because like, again, the articulation that these things have. I mean, David brought up that oh my God, I don't want to butcher his name. Stell?
Yeah.
Still. Is it Stell or Still?
I call him Stell.
Okay, Still. At one point told us that, yeah, it was able to hold the blade up to it and have it like licking the blade.
Yep.
And to have that kind of articulation, it's just like, holy crap, that's even better than what a G.I. Joe can do.
I mean, I don't know if it's better, but there's because of the butterfly the way it is, there's certain things that it can do. Yeah, there's still limitations in the articulation. I think sometimes we all get a little too excited. I just want to like measure, like keep expectations like a normal pace. Because some people think it's like the second coming of articulation. I'm like, no, it's got good articulation, but it's not like the greatest thing ever existed.
Well, I mean, it's better articulation than, if there's anybody out there that likes NECA, because we've got a lot of people on here, I'm sorry, but your figures have a hell of a lot more articulation than a NECA figure. And I have the whole line of the Back to the Future figures.
Gotcha.
And I was just trying to take off a hand off of Marty. And I'm like, I literally had to go get some pliers and to pop that thing off, and then to try to put it back on. Like, couldn't do it. I was like,
well, I can say that we're really happy with how the wrist did come out. So like, yeah, you can definitely pull the wrist off very easy and put them back in. So because they, each figure comes with 2 sets of hands. So
yeah,
but yeah, that does come off really well. The forearms and the shins for that sort of pop and swap ability, you do need to heat it up for that. But the hands definitely come out really easy and go back in really easy. So we're really thrilled about that. But yeah, I've got the NECA Dungeons and Dragons. You might be able to see Wardick over my shoulder, but I love those. The detail on those is fantastic. They are somewhat a little stiff on the articulation, but you're also trying to get an iconic design. So I feel like they can definitely be forgiven for that. But they do have decent articulation. I don't want to say.
Well, I mean, they're a lot more than the original, because I did have the original. Oh my god, I actually had, what was the name? It's the one with the half, the bad guy of the figures.
There's Warduke, who's got like chainmail on one side, and then there's and then who's the guy with the snakes, the big guy. Tim's the one that asked all this because he's got every one of these memorized. But
yeah, and we were talking about those last week too, and we were like, I said the same thing. I was like, those things were just like, all right.
Yeah, they were 5 POA. Yeah, they were. Yep.
But we still, again, had so much fun with those things, because we're like, I don't care. I got a figure. I can make my own adventure now. So it was really cool. But so how did you come up with that name, Savage Crucible?
That's a really great question, Grimsword. Yeah. I think that actually half the team wasn't really crazy about the name in the beginning.
Really?
Yeah, I was in love with it, and then half of them were like, "Yeah, I don't really like that." And there's plenty of people who are like, "Eh." And I was like, "No, I think this is a great name," and I am happy I stuck with it. But this is kind of, I don't want to go into a convoluted story, but originally when I was thinking of this world, the concept of people being able to come into the world from any time or place, whatever. And so I thought of the word crucible, like when you're mixing things like that. And then I felt like something that was kind of missing in fantasy from my perspective, at least in my opinion, it didn't feel very Savage. Most of the toy lines out there don't feel very Conan-esque, I guess, from that perspective. And so Savage Crucible, I think most iconic brands go down to 1 or 2 words, right? I mean, obviously Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is the exception, but most aren't that big of a mouthful. So I think that you really wanted to focus on something. So I wanted something that was really encompassing the world, and I felt like those 2 words went really well together. So
yeah, and your company is one of the few companies that I always remember the name. So it rolls off the tongue. You can ask David if he comes on here, man. I butcher names all the time, but I'm like, Savage Crucible. No problem. I always remember you guys. So, but that was something that the guys last week had mentioned, is that how you guys have now got a figure that has the playability to go with any figure that's out there now. So you can kind of mix and match and go up against each other, compared to what we used to have back in the day, where the example was He-Man can't play with G.I. Joe. it didn't work because He-Man was huge and GI Joe was 3 3/4.
Yeah, I mean, I use Webster as a monster against my GI Joe, so with its perspective, I get what you're saying. Some people are purists,
Yeah,
but yeah, I think sometimes scale does have is a factor. I think the great thing about like the Lizard Men is, especially with some of the smaller 6-inch figures, the Lizard Men can be bigger, so it works out really well. I don't know that we've discussed this in public, so I think this might be the first time. I think the Lizard Men are going to end up being about 3 millimeters taller than the humans. More than likely, yeah. So that'll be kind of a little bit unique aspect to the line as well with the lizard guys. So, yeah, which I'm really happy about how that's going to turn out. So
that's cool. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, because were you a D&D player back in the
Yes,
day?
actually, yes.
Do you
When I was
still
young, I was, yes. So
do you still
um,
play?
no, I think 5th edition is a little bit of a beast to play a lot of times, but
Oh, it's so easy.
you think so? Okay. Well,
Yeah,
I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. Like if you really wanted to dig in, like I think but that's part of the fun, right? Like you could spend days like coming up with characters. I think that's the part that some people don't understand when
yeah.
they get into it. They think it's just sitting around the table, and I'm thinking, no, the part of the fun is by yourself as well, just coming up with the character. So, and I think people, I think people are going to understand how much I like D&D when they get their figures. That's
So
about as big of a hint I can give right now. So
okay, and I think I know what you're saying because actually, no, this is something that we actually talked with the other guys like off the camera. So
yeah,
yeah, it was yeah. So I think everyone's gonna really get a kick out of everything when it comes to this and actually see how deep it's a dive into your figures. So that's cool. But you're right with D&D. I mean, it's not just okay. So you're a warrior, you're a bard, you're a wizard. Now they've got so many other like races and different jobs and everything God, I was about to say MOS. but but different things you can do with them, and I was even just recently because I had actually uh for my daughter's birthday we did a D&D party. So it was just her and 3 other friends and we did a whole D&D session.
that's
And
awesome.
it was a lot of fun, but these are kids that have never played and they just kind of made generic characters and I was all like, you could have made such and such character. And they're like, we could have. I'm all, yeah, there's so many races now that you can do. Even I'm like shocked at how much more they've now added. I can be a freaking squirrel if I want to. A squirrel
Yeah, pretty
warrior.
much.
Yeah.
Like
So
we just kind of touched it. Like we have like in wave 1, there's one character that's half human, half Lemurian.
okay.
We've shown the sculpt for Nez, but we haven't. I don't know that we've discussed what 2 races he is officially. So, but yeah, how old are your daughters? Like, do they wear like small t-shirts or mediums? Because I can send them some really cool.
She's 14. So
Right.
I'd say probably like a women's small.
Okay, yeah, just tell me afterwards, and I'll send some t-shirts out to you
Yeah.
guys.
She's like
They're really cool. Trust me. Like I would send one to you, but she's just gonna steal it anyway. So
oh heck no! Shoot her.
yeah.
I'd be like, nah, that ain't gonna happen. But all right, so I hear. So you're a D&D fan, but what else are you like right now geeking out on? And I know you're a busy man. You're doing a lot of different things, but as far as like comic books or movies or TV shows, what is it that you're like into right now?
All right, so let's see. TV, watching Halo, season 2 right now.
Okay, let's stop right there because I've just got into Halo season 2 also.
Right.
How are you feeling with the show? Like,
Okay, so season 1 was just amazing for me. I felt like they just hit everything. It's a little. I'm still really enjoying season 2. I think the some of the characters that we really just thoroughly enjoyed in season 1 not being there in season 2 so far
yeah,
is was kind of weird. Of course, this last episode was fucking gut wrenching, right?
which
Like,
I haven't watched. I haven't gotten too far.
Oh shit! Oh dude.
Oh man.
Oh damn! Like
Damn, now I'm gonna have to sit there with a box of tissue and be all ready for it and be like,
yes,
oh.
I'm just letting you know. Like you're like mother. So all right. But yeah. So but I it's really gearing up. So I'm really excited to see where the rest of the season goes on Halo.
Okay. All right. I was I was a little hesitant on going into season 2 because I was just kind of like I was a little bit disappointed with season 1. I still enjoyed it. Love seeing everything in it. You know, all the freaking costumes, all the vehicles and all that stuff. But it just didn't I feel like oh really quick. What's going on, Esteban? Over at Comics Podcast. But I felt like the story kind of because I don't know. Did you ever read the books?
No.
Okay. So if you go back and read the books, you know, the Reach series and all those, they're really good.
Okay.
Or you can do like I did. I didn't really read it. I kind of did the audio book because
I know I heard you were really big on audio.
I am.
I really like graphic novels. So that's where I do most of my reading. I used to read a lot more novel based when I was younger, but now of course the irony is now I have to wear glasses in the dark. So
you know what? I just or my eye doctor just told me, so you're gonna have to get readers. I was like, no, that's not gonna happen. She's like, if you want to be, she's like, can you read this? I was like,
hell no.
Right there, I can read it. It's like arm's length. I'm still good. She's all like, well, you're gonna have to get readers. I was like, no, that's not. I can't. I was like, you know what? I'll just give up reading altogether. It's all right.
That's the answer. That's the answer.
Just done.
Oh man.
But yeah, I did enjoy Halo, but I was kind of like, all right, we'll see what season 2 brings, and I'm liking it. But now you got me like, oh crap, I got to get ready for a gut wrencher. That's gonna suck.
Yeah, well, let's see. Toy wise, collecting Mondo. Just got my Beastman in. I'm still waiting on my Skeletor because DHL screwed that up, and Mondo kind of took a while. So, but supposedly I have a tracking number, so it should be here any day. GI Joe. I told you about the D&D NECA. I've got some other stuff. I guess I have my camera a little too low. I don't know if you can really see my shelf.
So with GI Joe, are you talking about like you're collecting the old?
No, I collect classifieds.
Oh, okay, so like the newer ones that are they're bigger, right? They're like 6-inch.
6-inch scale, yeah. I got some Action Force, Mondo, a decent amount of Mafex figures. Yeah, I mean that's mostly what I mean. I'll pick something up like a one-off. I think I got that Samson figure from Metroid. Picked that one up the other day. I got the Blues Collector Vampirella in. Mine was pretty good. I heard some reviews that said the quality wasn't that great, but I didn't have a problem with mine. I still think it's a little overpriced for what it was. I think it was like a $70 figure. I feel like it was more of a $40 figure, but
that's the problem that I kind of have with a lot of these figures that are out there. It's like the prices for some of these figures are just absolutely ridiculous. And I get it. I mean, the target isn't the kids because how many kids are out there right now playing with figures anymore?
Well, there are some. All right. I hear that a lot. And I can think of, I know two little boys. I know one plays with Monkey figures and the other one plays with GI Joe. So they are out there. I think the range at which the kids are playing with them is pretty low. I want to say it's like in that four starts 4 or 5, then it probably ends by 7. And then I think it's like also a product of how much their parents let them play video games and things like that. So
yeah, and that's another thing. It's kind of like the video games have taken over, and it's kind of like if the parents would regulate a little bit more of how much time you let them spend on it, because back in the day with me, it was I got a small amount of time to play on my Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
So then I moved, once I was done, I moved on to my figures that I had, and I had like GI Joe galore. Like I had
Well, if you
everything.
had a Nintendo, you probably had to share. You had probably could only play it on the one TV. And so then when your parents got home, they wanted to watch TV, so you couldn't play.
Yeah, they're like, all right, you're done. Oh, all right. Well, I'll go play. I'll play with my GI Joes. That's cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it was so, so much more. What do we got? Renanto. I just spent
Renato.
400 on 4 turtles from Nezuko.
Renato has enough turtles. That's all he collects, and it's not all he collects, but he's a huge turtle fan. So.
Actually, my partner David is a huge turtle. He has pretty much every first run Ninja Turtle figure. So
really, he has the squishy head ones.
Yeah, that first run of them, and it was his cousin that actually gave him the whole collection because his cousin's like, I'm getting too old to play with toys. And
am I the only one who remembers that kids didn't like the squishy head one because that was a different color green than the rest of the figure and it looks stupid? Like, am I the only one that remembers?
I don't even remember. Well, again, it was back to where it's like I got a turtle.
Right, but I mean, like so, like the first one was squishy head, and then like it looked like the head was like a different color green than the rest of the body because it was different kind of plastic. And then the second run of those shortly thereafter had the harder plastic heads. And they looked better, like they just looked better. But I just love how that fact kind of gets overlooked. I think sometimes when people are talking.
You know what? I didn't even realize it. Now I'm gonna have to ask him to bring some of his figures so I can look at them and be all like, "Oh yeah, you're right. I don't remember that. I don't remember the squishy heads." But I got Esteban who's saying, "Preach!" I set up timers for my kids, which is actually that's good. I mean,
yeah, I think it's good.
You kick them off the video games and tell them, "Hey, go use your imagination and go do something."
Your imagination, yeah.
Which we don't have that anymore. I mean, shoot, I used to turn a stick into a sword and then it would turn into a gun. I mean,
well, I also think that kids, a lot of them seem to have so much anxiety and things like that. I think it's because they're constantly getting hit with these dopamine hits from these games and doom scrolling, things like that. So I think it's a nervous system issue that you're perpetuating. Well, we're all perpetuating, right? So as I keep drinking my caffeine.
Hey, you know what?
Talking shit about that.
Today I'm actually not drinking my normal Ghost, which is what I drink, and that gets me going for the show. Because I had a Ghost this morning, and then while I was driving up, I had a Venti ice mocha with an ad shot. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna kind of tone it down, and I'm only gonna drink a Dr. Pepper, which still has caffeine. But I was like, you know what? I need to.
Well, I try to alternate. I have like a can of like Liquid Death sparkling water.
Oh, I love that stuff. Yes,
yeah, I love it.
That one's the best.
I don't care for the name. I think it's kind of cheesy or whatever, but like I do like their tea, the Grim Leaf or whatever it's called. And
the black tea one.
Yeah.
That's
so I try to alternate between that and the Pepsi Max stuff. So.
Well, so funny thing you bring up Liquid Death. I just my wife was like saw their little flask that they put out. It's a flask. It's a flasket. It looks like a casket, but it's a flask.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that. Yeah, that sounds interesting.
It's actually really cool. It's got some really good, awesome engraving and stuff all along it. But she was like, "I want that." I was like, "All right, what are you gonna put in it?" She's all like, "Water." Like, all right. Sure. All right. But I bought it for her anyways. But they also were selling these really cool can cozies that look like a straight brown bag. So you slide your can into it, so it looks like you're straight drinking a 40. And I bought a 2-pack, and oh man, I wish I had them right here. Left it in my car.
I've got to look for this. This is awesome. This is what I want to bring to shows.
Oh, I was like, I'm gonna have this at the gate in uniform, so people see me drinking this thing, and then be like, "What are you doing?"
Oh God!
And so I can slide out my can and be like, "What? It's an energy drink. What are you talking about?"
I can see you get interviewed by the Jags a lot, sir.
Oh yeah, but being in this in the service, it's what we live off of is caffeine.
Yeah, no, exactly.
It used to be Rip Its, What was that? Or what was the name of that? That one rip
I had
or
this. I don't remember which one. Right now, I'm drinking Riot energy drinks. They seem to have like not very much sugar in them at all, so that
uh,
helps. But
keep
getting
getting. Hell yeah, Holmes. That's what I do. Gotta hey, can't drop a 40, so I gotta drop an energy drink, make it look like a 40. So I'm be all like, what's up? You know?
yeah.
Oh, and
Someone that was a teenager drinking malt liquor. Yeah, don't worry.
you gotta drink yourself a Coke
Oh
45.
well,
Oh yeah.
guys, you're not asking any questions in the chat, so
Oh, they're just talking all kinds of madness. I like it.
I don't know what questions y'all really want me to answer tonight.
Oh, you know what? Tonight is just let's get to know Rob, who who's you're the head, you're the man. And again, like your other guys are like, yeah, he's the man. He's the one you need
No,
to talk
like
to.
okay, let me just dispel that myth. Like
Okay.
no one works for me. Everyone works with me. Okay. There is I think that anyone on the team will tell you that we all listen to each other and value each other's opinions, no matter how different they are. And we place a high currency on having a different opinion and a different outlook. So I tell people all the time, I don't give two shits about yes men. Um, so we may not agree, but that's okay. I definitely kind of respect you at the end of the day. So
That's how you're getting this great product that you guys are putting out because it's a collaboration of collector, model builder. It's all these minds that are coming together to create that one figure that you guys, or these figures that you guys are having, which is awesome.
yeah, I would agree with you. I think I've said this before. Sometimes it seems like I have all these great ideas, and it's like no, we have like 20 people with really great ideas, and sometimes a character will just be all one person from a design to sculpting aspect, but honestly, most of the characters multiple people touch, whether it's colors or even just adding accessories or touching up detail or overall just concept design. So it's pretty rare from start to finish for one person to completely own a character. And so far it's really working out great on what's coming out. So
Well, we actually got a question here. Look at that.
so,
You asked for a question, you got one. Which character in Savage Crucible line are you looking forward to the most?
of the first three waves, or the characters you guys haven't seen, or
Let's go with the first three waves because we've seen.
I really want the Harbinger. I think he's the most iconic one of the bunch. I do really like Jaeger a lot, and I do like Nin a lot. But I think the Harbinger of the Abyss is, for me, he's got the perfect iconic villain look. So
All right, and that is will separate Savage Crucible from on the toy lines. No yes men, and all in. All right.
yeah, well, we're not perfect. We make mistakes, but we all own up to them. So
And we do have another somebody else is saying the Savage Lizard figure is my favorite. And
they're nice. I love them. That's why. Yeah. So
well, like I said, according to Tim last week, he was saying that he was going to have his army of Savage Lizards.
that's because he's gonna steal them all from the convention. Just know that they were not legally obtained. That's all.
Oh, that's funny. So, okay, you said are you into comic books? And you said graphic novels.
Yep. Well, I was a huge Marvel fan growing up. I had short boxes after short boxes of comics. I think I fell out of reading comics right about college. So most of the late 2000s and 2010 stuff, storylines, I don't know anything about, but I can tell you Jim Lee's first cover of X-Men was 248, and then he came on full time, I think, like Uncanny X-Men 267, which I think pretty sure we had the cover of Gambit and Storm on the cover. So yeah, like so yeah, I think the last thing I've read, I just got through reading this Elric graphic novel from Titan Comics. It's a 4 graphic novel bundle. It's gorgeous. Highly recommend it. I think you can pick up on Amazon for like 40 or 50 bucks. And it's like 4 graphic novels together, but it's a fantastic story. I was doing some research on Jaguar God a couple months ago, so I read the entire run on that from Glenn Danzig, who lives out in California. So I'm trying to think. I've read some other ones here recently that kind of escaped me over Christmas because I was reading some stuff during Christmas week. But
okay, so here's another one. The new Titan Conan comic have had 3 connecting covers. Any discussions on maybe connecting artwork from other packages?
Yeah, we actually we talked about that in the very beginning. That was on the threshold. It was one of the ways that we were going to go because I think Black Series does a really great job with that. If you line up Black Series, like it looks like a whole thing. So it was something we were talking about. I really love Tony Middy's artwork that he did for us on the crest, all those really great logos, if you remember at the show, the backdrops and all that. And so that's what we decided to go with the packaging. In terms of being on a shelf, all of the individual SKUs are numbered properly. I think I'm probably blocking it. I don't know. There's some down on the bottom shelf, but they're numbered specifically based on the SKU. And so if you just like classifieds, if you're familiar with the packaging, you can line them up by numerical order. So you can do that. And then each wave has its own unique packaging that's going in it. So, but in terms of doing it on the side for a cover, not yet, but I'm not saying that we won't or will not do that in the future, but we'll think about it. I do like that look a lot, but it takes a lot of planning. And right now, like we didn't know how many SKUs for each wave we were actually going to have to like the very end. And it also kind of creates, when you lock yourself in that hard, you can't do drop figures, which is something that we want to do to surprise people. Nice. And we certainly have some really great surprises for people this year. So we're really excited about that. So that's the problem. It's all about planning and how much can you really plan for and anticipate. So,
well, I do like your guys' artwork as far as that. And that was the big thing that first caught our eye when we were at LA Comic-Con, because it was very hard to miss your actual booth with the top thing that was like above everybody else. And we're like, what's that over there? And I remember telling that to David, and he's all like, what? I'm all, what do you mean? What? That thing says Savage Crucible. Let's go over there. And we just like a beeline right over to you guys. And then because he's an artist, and he's always drawing stuff and working on and his stuff is really cool. And so he's all like, dude, and this was before we even said, hey, can we have an interview? He's all, dude, this artwork is really awesome. And I was all like, hell yeah, that poster is pretty sick. And that's when we're like, all right, let's talk to him, because these things are sick looking. So, I mean, your guys, there isn't anything that you guys have done so far that is like, oh, well, that's all right. All your stuff is awesome. Artwork, figures. I mean, so
I don't know about that, but I appreciate it. I think the great thing is that we take so many shots. We put it out there that we get to pick the best of whatever we do. And so that's what makes it feel that way. I can think of this one sculpt that I've had 3 different people work on, a character that I really, really want. I know Nikki really, really wants it too, but it's not there yet. Like there's something missing. It doesn't capture it. And then was talking to a friend was it this week or last week? The days all go together, but he's a sculptor as well, and he came up with some really great ideas. I was like, yes, that's exactly what this needs, what this is missing. Like, did some really great. So yeah, it takes a lot sometimes, but like taking your time and like well, I don't think what most people don't realize is that we've been at Savage Crucible for a number of years, well before it was ever announced. And so that's why we get to do the things that we do in terms of like having characters ready to drop. And that's why I don't want to commit to the next to wave forward, because we have so many to choose from. I want to make sure, based on feedback from when people start getting wave 2 and wave 1 in hand and some of these drop figures, that we can take some of that feedback and make the fans as happy as we can within reason.
Well, we got another one here. Any thoughts on con exclusives?
Yeah, so we don't call them well, yeah, they're, in a sense, they're called con inclusive. We call them conclusives. And so what we do is we don't think, look, exclusives are fun as a collector when you get them. They really suck when you don't get them, or you have to pay scalper prices, right? And so I don't, as a collector, it really sucks if you live on the East Coast and there's a exclusive on the West Coast. So what we trying to meet in the middle, what we've done is decided to do what we call conclusives, and we debut a conclusive at a convention, but we will sell a limited supply at every convention we go to for the rest, for like 12 months out.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, we will have another conclusive in 24. And when it drops, we promise to bring it to like shows for the next 12 months across it, because we do a lot of shows. We're very committed to that, and we'll do that across the country and keep doing that so that we give people multiple opportunities to chase those figures, because collecting is about the chase. It's not just going up to Amazon or wherever and just clicking add to cart. That's fun, but there is a certain amount of chase involved that I think is appropriate. But I don't want to create anything that's like some kind of super limited 500 unit run and only the 300 best scalpers in LA got them. So that doesn't help anybody. That's not fun at all. So I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, it kind of sucks because there's been times where I've seen like figures that other companies have dropped, and they're all on the East Coast. They're like, at New York Comic Con, this figure, and I'm like, that looks awesome, but yeah, I can't get it because I'm not in New York.
And but when you do the math and everything, is sometimes paying a scalper's price is way cheaper than if you were actually to go, right? So, but going to convention is all about the experience and getting those things and being there and getting to talk to people. So I feel like it doesn't really matter if I'm at LA Comic Con or if I'm at Toylanta or some small show in Indiana. It shouldn't really matter. I think the experience should be just as good for everybody. So that's why I want to bring those kind of things to every show that we go to. And we do big shows, we do small shows. We'll go wherever the fans are. I just can't do them more than, we stream it to about almost one per month, I think, almost. And then I think for 25, we'll probably do one every 2 months, just to kind of reel it back in, because I do have other things I do in my life. It might be a day for you, but usually my shows are like 2 to 3 days of sitting there, and then it's a day on either side at the minimum. So it's like a 5-day thing for me. And that doesn't even count for something. That's if you can drive there in a day. Some shows you can't drive in a day, so it becomes even worse, right? So,
oh man, yeah, I can only imagine. I did years ago. I did my own line of like shirts and stuff, but for paintball, and I was traveling doing the events. And some people don't realize that, like, back in the early 2000s, paintball was actually huge.
Oh yeah.
And there still is a pro division, but it was like the main actual event called the MPPL, and it traveled from California, New York, Florida. It was all over. And in 1 year, we went from California, sent to Chicago, to Florida, to New York, to, like, we traveled with it the whole year. And it was just like, all right, it was every 2 months that we would go, but it was still a week worth of prep to get our stuff out to the event. And then it's also to get ourselves out to the event. And then once we get to the event, it's the setup of the booth. Then it's the teardown of the booth once the event's done. yeah. So I feel your pain. I know
It's a lot.
it's a lot, and it's sometimes you're like, I'm excited, and then like 4 shows in, you're like, I just don't want to do this
Well,
anymore.
I'm very introverted, and so shows are, the guys know this. They are very emotionally exhausting for me. It's not that I don't. I mean, I love meeting everybody and talking to them. I really do, but at the end of the day, it's hard for me. So if you show up at the booth at 3 o'clock and I'm not a damn ray of sunshine, it's not because I don't like you or appreciate you. It's because this is day 2 of me, unfortunately, answering the same question repeatedly. And it is tough. It truly is. Like I think those actors, they truly are actors when they're signing those out. Like the way that they can smile like every day like that's doing those signings. It's really impressive. It really is, because you try to like ramp yourself up, but because you want people to have a really good time when they come there, because they are supporting you and they love it and they're excited and you want to match that. So the kids that come really do help. Like that's because it's like the purity that they bring to their happiness in situations, especially like they don't know who Savage Crucible is at all. You know, there's a lot of kids that come up and get fascinated by the coins that we sell, and they absolutely just love it, and that just makes my day. Like it really does.
You just you suck their youth out of them as they walk up. You're like, okay, I'm good to go. Bring me the next kid.
Oh man. Matt, tell me I'm a ray of sunshine on the inside. But yeah, no, I mean, it's interesting. The cons are hard. They're really expensive for the most part, but
I can only imagine.
yeah, but hey, that's the thing. Like you got to get out and go to the toy shows. That's where the fans are. That's how they're going to get to see you and understand you and actually see the figures. It's a whole nother game when you actually see them in hand, and you get to really appreciate the detail. So
Yeah, like I said, both of us were huge kids when we came up to your booth and saw these toys, and we actually got to touch them and move them, and it's like, holy crap, and they've got accessories. It's like, oh my god, I want all this, and then we had to walk away, and we're like, oh.
you had to pay off Tim. I think he stole a couple and took them back.
But you're right, as far as like being at the event and having that level of energy to keep you going. For like LA Comic Con was 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was done, I literally had to take a leave day on Monday because I was like, I am exhausted. I was so spent because, I mean, I'm a ray of sunshine at the first thing in the morning, especially if I have my ghost. And then if you keep giving me those ghosts, I'm going to continue to go. I'll start farting freaking rays of sunshine. But it's exhausting because I'm like, I got to stay. Here we go. Let's go, guys. And
hey, I got on after LA Comic Con, I literally got on a plane and flew to Korea.
Oh my God.
And then went to Singapore, and then Thailand, and then back to Korea, and then back to the States. So I wasn't home for like a month straight. Well, no, it was like, yeah, it was a month, like a little bit over a month from me leaving here to go to LA to getting back home. So
that's exhausting. Just hearing that.
It was intense. It really was. Oh. All right. So what did Marcel ask? Let's see.
Where's Marcel? Rob from Wave 2. We saw Krieger and I'm going to butcher all these names.
Rosetta and
Rosetta's Warrior and Jag Warrior prototypes. When will we see Nash and Who-Man prototypes?
That's an excellent question, and you will see them before the pre-order for Wave 2. Promise.
There you go, guys. Just keep watching or looking at their Instagram, and you'll see everything, right? You should.
Yeah, you'll see them eventually. They're there. We've had there have been conversations had about those. Yes, I'm well aware that. I think it's very important that people get to see those, especially the Paint Masters before.
Wave 2. So, any plans on releasing a different design for the decoder? Which I didn't. I should have even. I totally forgot about that. That decoder is freaking awesome. And what you guys did for each of the guys, where it's the decoders in the rock and with all the coins, that is freaking awesome.
Yeah, Doug did the rock. He designed the rock, but to put all that stuff in. But yes, actually, we do have another design in my mind anyway on the next decoder. There's these kids. I think it's in Alaska that you came up with this numbering system. And I want to say it's based off some Native American numbering systems or something. Anyway, I read an article about it. Seems fascinating. I want to try to incorporate it into the next cipher coin with the already existing numbering system that those wonderful, beautiful monks from the 12th century or 13th century came up with. So yeah, we want to make some of the ciphers a little bit more complex in the future. I know Gordon already has a couple more messages that'll be coming up over the next couple months using the decoder. So I hope everyone's going to be excited about some of the things that we're going to reveal over the next 6 months. So,
well, I think the decoder thing is it's freaking an awesome idea to have and to incorporate, because I mean, it takes you back to the old days of, when I saw it, and then when I saw it again with Tim installed showing the decoder, it made me start thinking about Christmas Story. When he's all excited to get his decoder from Little Orphan Annie, and he's all like, oh my God, what is it? Drink your Ovaltine. It's like, wah, wah. But I think you incorporating that back into the playing, the playability with the figure is pretty awesome.
Thank you. Yep.
So
I don't think most people know there is actually a mini coin in the character pack in Wave 3. Like, most people miss it. Like, we actually sculpted figure size decoder coin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Gordon did that. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah, I don't think most people realize it's in there, but that's all right.
Will the decoder be available for pre-order or a con item?
That's a great question. The new one. I don't know about that. I'll have to think about that some. So they're heavy, like that's the. I don't think people appreciate them until they pick one up and they're like, "Damn." Yeah. So it's kind of hard for people to understand them if they've never held one. So.
Well, I mean, honestly, it's a great idea. It's awesome to have something like that. It's a lot more. It's something not really new to toys, but it's new to the kids that are actually getting these things to see, and to use a decoder, which is pretty awesome. So,
well, we get, or we did, you still might get challenge coins, and that's basically right.
Yeah, we still get our challenge coins that are just like, oh, okay, thanks, General. What? Okay, whatever. Moving on. It's like, thanks, I got a coin for you. Woo! I got several at home, and I actually have one that I actually keep in my pocket that was given to me from a sergeant major that was pretty much a friend, and he was getting ready to retire, so it was the last thing. He's all like, you better keep that coin in your pocket, and if I ever see you again, you better pull that thing out. So yeah, it's still in there. So nice. But yeah, so
these guys are full of questions today.
Now they're coming out with the questions, huh? Look at, wait, what, did we get another one? No, they just said.
Let's see, Nick. I love my decoder coins. Let's see, Nick. Any surprises playing for Toylanta? I don't think so. I do owe you some T-shirts, Nick. So make sure you tell me your size so I can bring them. I'm very excited to see you, and definitely want you to do some project for us, Nick. Moonshine Mel, awesome name. Did you back the AWOC Kickstarter? I did not. What's the next one? Any plans for further partnerships with Frazetta? Yes.
So,
yes.
Question, since and this was something we asked the guys last week, as far as Saturday morning cartoon. And the reason why I'm asking is I've been on this kick of watching Saturday morning cartoons over again. And we found I shouldn't say we. Somebody found a site that allows people to watch all the Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah, and you gave it to them in the private chat, and
Yeah.
did you think Sale turned around and like shared that to anybody on the team? No, Sale and Tim didn't share shit with the team on that. They just kept it to themselves.
Well, you know what, Rob? I will send you that link too, because I didn't know that they didn't share it with anybody else. But all right, so let's go. Saturday morning cartoon. Do you have a favorite?
Ooh, so it's kind of funny because we've had this conversation before internally. Like, so for me, cartoons were divided up into 3 segments. There was Saturday morning cartoons, there was Monday through Friday afternoon cartoons,
Yes,
and then there was the dreaded morning Monday through Friday cartoons,
uh-huh.
right? And I don't know, for whatever reason, they always wanted to put the coolest Monday through Friday cartoon on at like between 7 and 7:30, but you had to leave for school, so you never got to see, like, you got like 5 minutes of it tops. Like, so it was like that just seemed like hell. And then I was always thinking, like, what asshole puts a cartoon on at 3 when school gets out at 3? Like, so you'd always, like, if you sprinted home, you might like get the last 15 minutes, right? So just kind of one of those things that it was kind of annoying. But all right, so getting back to the question.
No, but
but growing up also, like, you didn't realize that, like, some people's Saturday morning cartoons were the cartoons that you watched in Monday through Friday, right? Like,
yeah.
So yeah. All right, having said all that, my favorite cartoons obviously were Transformers and G.I. Joe, but that was a Monday through Friday. Conan, which I never actually got to watch, but apparently it's horrible because I only got to watch like 5 minutes of it. Was a Monday through Friday morning cartoon. Gummy Bears was a Saturday cartoon.
Oh my God. And that's the theme song that will haunt us every time you bring up the word. You say gummy, and all of a sudden now it's clicked in my head. I'm starting to Gummy Bears.
And then let's see. It wasn't a cartoon, but Captain Power came on.
I love that one. Yeah.
But like most of the other, like Mass, whether it was Brave Star, those were all Monday through Fridays. Like,
really,
Dungeons and Dragons was definitely a Saturday. Like Herculoids, a lot of the Hanna-Barbera stuff was Saturday.
That's a good one right there. Starship Troopers, Rico's Roughneck. I remember that cartoon. You remember that one?
No, I don't. I remember the Starship Trooper video game, but
no, they did an actual cartoon which was computer generated. It was horrible computer generation because it was early, but to us back then it was like, again, freaking awesome. It's like, oh my God, it's the best thing ever. I loved Starship Troopers, and yeah, it was a good one. So that was a great one.
Lee just mentioned a good one I hadn't thought about in a long time. The Mysterious Cities of Gold that came on Nickelodeon. That was a great, that was a serialized series,
That was
so ahead of its time, because it had like that whole narrated arc. It wasn't narrated, but it had that whole arc going through it.
That was a great one. I liked and I actually just picked up the comic book run for it, which was King Arthur and the Knights of Justice.
Oh yeah.
That cartoon was great. So I thought, you know what? I'm gonna try to rewatch this cartoon.
Okay, so early 80s, I remember living in Germany. I'm like, I don't know, 5 years old maybe. But they had those King Arthur movies that were animated. And I was too young to like remember the name of it, but they were movies. It was not like a Saturday morning cartoon kind of thing.
Let's see.
Yeah, they were probably made in the 70s, either late 70s or early 80s. So
well, let's see what it is. I can bring that up. Cartoon movies. Oh, yeah, there it is. So Quest for Camelot. No, that was a 98. Those are cartoon or movies. Huh. Yeah, I don't know.
Ulysses 31. Yeah.
That was a great one too. I was a huge fan of Mask. and GI Joe and Transformers. Saturday mornings for me was more Gummy Bears was on there. Actually, over. So where did you grow up? Because that's
Everywhere.
also, huh?
I said everywhere. I was born in Kansas. Then we moved to Germany for like 4 years, and then Georgia. My father was in the service, so yeah.
When you said everywhere, it's like, okay, so you were Army brat.
Yeah.
So, but you got to see, you saw all kinds of cartoons. So, in different regions, it was obviously something different. So
something different. I mean, we were watching Voltron in Germany. Like that was a big deal, right? Like that was
that
huge.
was a great cartoon. And
yeah.
Voltron for me was a Monday through Friday early morning cartoon.
Yeah, no, that's not how that worked in Germany. Yeah.
And then for me, the afternoon cartoons were GI Joe, Transformers, He-Man, and those are the ones I was rushing home to get to watch because I was like, I gotta watch GI Joe. There's just no.
I mean, I like DuckTales.
Oh yes.
Like, I'm not, like no one talks about. I mean, I actually did enjoy that. So I mean,
well, what about Darkwing Duck?
Darkwing Duck. He was a little bit later for me, but yeah, Darkwing Duck. Pirates of Darkwater was good.
That was a good one. Oh, we got one right here. Let's see. Battle of the Planets.
Wow, yeah, Battle of the Planets.
That was a great cartoon.
Yeah. But that's Lee, and he's a couple years older than me. So he's like, he got the really like. There's a lot of good like early '80s stuff that I don't quite remember. Well, it's kind of funny, like it's kind of like GI Joe. Like my GI Joe stuff that I really enjoy is like the early, like 82 to like 87, and then there's guys that like just absolutely love like 1990.
Ooh,
like that's
no.
right, and it's still good, but just like it's just all about when it hits, right? So.
But when you think about, and this is something else we had talked about, since we've got a huge audience here, which they're all naming off a bunch of great cartoons from the 80s and 90s, was the theme songs.
Yep.
Theme songs to these shows were awesome. You're freaking rocking out as a kid, sitting there watching these shows, getting all pumped up, and you don't even care anymore that the show's you don't even know that it's bad. It's just like, man, that was an awesome, intro. I'm gonna watch the rest of it, and it's like, all right, yeah. And now that we watch it as adults, we're like, what were we thinking?
I don't know. Some of them are pretty fun.
Some of them still are. I mean, yeah,
but some of them are pretty bad. Like, I don't know why they always had to have the goofy comic relief character. I don't think that I appreciated those even when I was a kid, to be honest.
Like Brave Star had the little guy with the white hair.
Yeah, and like Orko, like I didn't really care for Orko.
They didn't always hit. Even as kids, you're kind of like, you kind of, no, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Move on.
I feel like Droids really disappointed me. I felt like I just did not like watching Droids. I was like, where's Luke Skywalker? Like,
Droids and the Ewoks cartoon, that one was another one that was like, I can't.
I did like the Ewoks live action. I mean, they're pretty horrible to watch as an adult, but like as a kid, like that was great. Like live action direct to TV movies they did.
Yeah, but so you got the first one that came out, and it was like, it was just bad, but then it was also gut wrenching because it's like these kids just lost their parents,
right? Yeah.
And you're like, what the? And then in the second one, the little girl now lost her brother. He was killed, and it was like, how these shows are depressing. As we watch them as an adult, but as kids, we were like, oh my god, it's Star Wars.
Still says there was a Highlander animated series. I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
We'd have to look. Well, see if you had a link to that website. That
still does have a link to that damn website.
Well, I'm thinking if you had that, you'd probably be able to look up Highlander and see if it was really there. But since somebody did not give you that link, style, uh,
Dell and Tim, they're not.
and Tim,
Tim's not getting off the hook either. I'm glad you reminded me of that because I remember thinking they're not going to share that. I was watching the show, but they're not going to share that.
well, it's a good thing you have a connection to be able to get you that link, and we'll make sure that that's there, and then you can send it to everybody else. And whatever links we send you, if you want to not give them to Tim and Style, then yeah, that's up to you.
Well, those FTP sites, like I remember using those overseas. Like that was the great thing. Like that's what they're really. I don't know if most people understand how some of those came about, but that's what they are. They're just stuff where we in countries that we couldn't get anything. So that
yeah. Well, yeah, and even now it's like we take our hard drives with us everywhere we go, and we collect, and that's how I think I have 2 terabytes worth of movies, TV shows, and that are just sitting there. I'm not touching those hard drives, but if I got to go again, at least I could snag those up and I'll have all that content. And then but even though like now we're able to actually get stuff while we're on post or wherever we're going, we have like Wi-Fi, so we can still watch a lot of the Netflix and all that other stuff. So Arabian Nights from the Banana Splits Adventure Hour. Yeah, that's before my time. I don't remember that one. But all right, Tim, you know what? We've had you on for a while now.
Really?
I know. I just looked up at the time and I'm like, okay, we're not going to go as long as the last one, even though it's a lot of fun. It's anytime we start going down that rabbit hole of like 80s cartoons or how about 80s movies. You know what? Forget the time. 80s movies. What was your go-to 80s movie?
I don't know if I have a go-to one. I just saw the poster for one that I hadn't seen that I was like, man, I want to go back and watch that. I want to. Is it called Blind Fury? It's
Oh my God. Yes.
Blind swordsman guy. I didn't even know the name of it until when I saw the poster. I was like, oh my God, I remember that. Like it was so awesome. Now I got to go back and watch it to see if it really was that awesome.
You know what? I have a reputation of loving every bad movie that's out there. Like I kid you not, I get so much flack from everybody because I'm like, Tubi is my go-to channel to stream movies on because they have all the best bad movies. Look, Crawl was a masterpiece. I loved Crawl. Do you remember Crawl with the freaking?
Oh yeah, no, that's the joke. Is like Tim harasses me endlessly about getting the Kroll license.
Oh my God!
And I'm like, look, the glaive is awesome. The evil trooper dudes, those look cool. I was like, but the rest of it, like, yeah, I want to do a Cyclops. That'd be fun. But like the rest of the guys, like
but it was such a good movie. And then when you saw the glaive hit the freaking evil dudes and they like popped out of the skull or out of the top of the bodies, that was such a good movie. I love that.
There were parts that were awesome. Don't get me wrong. I don't disagree with that.
Look, I opened up a whole new can.
Oh, dude, they know. Luckily, we've skipped some of the questions. I think Renato asked about a 2-pack, which is another inside joke. And I think one legitimate question someone asked: are we close to getting the Battle Danes? And I don't know if they'll be in Wave 4 or not. So Arlen's already sculpted the Dane. He did that like a year or so ago, at least. Probably longer than that. So I think people would be thoroughly shocked on how much stuff has already been sculpted.
Well, these guys are talking about all the love for their movies. Bloodsport.
Love Bloodsport. Yep.
That was an awesome movie. The Breakfast Club. Who doesn't love Breakfast Club?
I do love the Breakfast Club.
It says Rob loves the Breakfast Club.
I do love the Breakfast Club.
That's a great movie.
Actually, it's got a great soundtrack. What are you talking about?
Oh hell yeah, that is an amazing soundtrack. Love that. And let's see, Cyborg. That was a great movie. Have you read? And I know we're going back to reading, but have you read Ready Player One?
Yes.
I love all the references that they make in that movie or in that book to all the great things of the 80s.
Did you solve any of the puzzles in the book?
There's puzzles.
Yep.
Oh crap! Now I got to go back and actually.
There's hidden references and all kinds of stuff, and there's actually a game inside of a game that all the prizes. By the time I read it, all the prizes had already been claimed. But yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Oh my gosh! Now I got to go back and read the book.
yep,
I,
yep.
I also listened to it on audio. I've actually listened to it a couple times on audio while I'm driving because I have such a long drive. But uh, Will Wheaton reads it, and it's actually
Oh, okay, yeah.
yeah, he does a really good job of reading it, and it keeps you like tied into the book and stuff, and it's really good. Have you read Ready Player Two?
No, I've not. I've not read that.
It's it's still a good read. It's not as good as the first one, um, because we've kind of already gone through all that kind of stuff that in the first book, and then also Armada, which is another book that uh, the same author wrote, is kind of in the same vein of Ready Player One, where it's a kid who it's closer to more of Last Starfighter type story.
Oh, see, I love The Last Starfighter. That's one of those. I remember I like floored the guy at Mondo. He's like everything's been done. I was like, not everything. And he's like, okay, what would you do that hasn't been done? I was like, a gun star. And he was like, fuck. I was like, where the fuck's my gun star? That's what I want to know. Like, but I hear they're talking about actually letting doing a reboot of that. So I hope it gets off. So
there's been a lot of talks about it. I read the last time I saw something post up about them doing a reboot was last year,
yeah.
and there hasn't been any other talks. But I would love, and I know that was it Reaction? Who does the Reaction figures?
Super Seven
Super
does too.
Seven. Yeah.
Yeah.
They did a couple of Last Starfighter figures. They did oh my god, what's the name of the main character? Rogan,
Yeah.
Alec,
Yeah.
Alec Rogan. They did a figure of him. They did Greer,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they did the one of the
One of the aliens or something. I guess.
yeah one of the two of the aliens, because you had the main one, which is the guy with the little
Yeah.
scepter, and then one of the actual red figures.
Oh, they
But
didn't do the dudes with the eyeballs out the side or whatever.
no, well, they didn't show those. They had the visor on.
Oh, I got you.
But yeah, I was like, okay, well, there's some figures from the Last Starfighter, but it's like, again, we're not getting the Gunstar. I want a Gunstar.
You want a gun star? That's all there is to it. Like,
You get me a Gunstar, I'll be happy. Just
Yeah.
there you go, guys.
so,
Let's get on it.
well, I don't know if that fits with us.
Well,
actually,
not you guys, but
yeah, I mean, we've acquired some stuff we haven't openly talked about, so we're pretty we're good with the licenses that we have. So it's hard enough to keep it quiet and not talk about it. So the ones, yeah. Anyway, but so I think that it's going to be really fun the next 12 months, and I'm excited about it. So we got some really cool things, and everyone's been great. They've been really gracious and patient with us. With a couple of the little delays that we had, and I think it'll be really worth it, and just to appreciate everybody supporting us from that standpoint, because it's not easy, and it's very easy to get frustrated. And I do realize I'm a collector myself, obviously, and I do feel like sometimes we get taken advantage of, and our graciousness of collecting and people taking advantage of us from a pre-order standpoint and things of that nature. So, yeah, I hopefully everyone can see how transparent I try to be in the process, and keep everybody informed. And I think over time it'll really win a lot of people over. So,
Well, I think you guys, as much as you guys post up on Instagram and it's showing, the step by step and the updates, and even if it's just the minor little updates that I've seen where it's like, check out the scales on this thing, and it's as up close, and I mean that's cool that you're like you said, you're being transparent with everything because you want to show, hey, look, this is why it's kind of taking a while, and like you said at the beginning of the show, where it's like it's not like it's all under one roof where they go in an assembly line from the mold to paint to package and out the door. It's okay. This factory has the freaking mold, and then it's got to go over to the next place where they're actually going to create the figure. And then so yeah, guys, seriously, if you guys have been following Savage Crucibles for this long and checking their Instagram and all that stuff, the figures are awesome. If you've seen them at any of the cons, it's worth the wait. And once you get them, you guys are going to probably be playing with them all day long and taking them to the bathtub like back in the day where we're like in the bathtub with the figures.
That's definitely Tim. Tim will definitely.
Oh, he's got to take a picture with that.
make sure you put all toys that Tim plays with in the dishwasher. But before we go, I guess we should give people some treats. I do have some color samples from the factory. I've had these for actually a couple of months now. So these are just samples that we do that they'll run for me sometimes just to test out like other colors for just to use as bases of things. And so let's see if I can.
Let me see if I can. Hold on. Let me try to. I'm going to try to find you so I can get closer to you.
Yeah.
Nope. No, why? I don't want me. Okay. Well,
the screen wants you.
Apparently.
Yeah. So I'll get my face out of it. But yeah, so you can kind of see that's our wonderful special plastic that Mattel wants that I won't tell them how I did it. But that's a story from the LA Comic Con. The Mattel guys came by and they're like, how did you do that? I'm like, I wouldn't tell you guys. And they're like, the guy's like, well, I'm leaving in a year. It doesn't matter. I'm like, I'm still not telling you. That doesn't mean anything. Anyway, cool stuff. These are just some samples, just to kind of compare some different colors and some effects that we're working on for future releases down the road. But just some
all right.
That's yeah. So I think I don't know that anybody else has actually ever seen these in person. Has anybody else seen these in person? I think they just got shipped to me. Yeah. I think I'm the only person that's ever seen them in person. But yeah, some good stuff. So lots of things happen behind the scenes. And
sweet. So all right, Rob. So tell us, where can we find you guys? What's the next event that's coming up?
For March, it's Toylanta. I believe it's the 22nd, 23rd of March. We'll be in Toylanta. You get to see a lot of the samples. And then in April, we're headed to Chicago, I think. And then May is Houston. But if you go to www.savagecrucible.com, we have all our shows listed with the city and the dates. So we should be going to Augusta, Georgia, Charlotte, Dallas, back to LA, going to ZoloCon, which is right outside Philly this year as well. So we should be reasonably close as long as you're not in the Pacific Northwest or the Northeast. I'm still working on a show for the Northeast for later this year. So.
All right, cool. Well, Rob, it was awesome having you on here. And
really appreciate it.
Like I said, we're huge fans of your stuff. We're huge fans of you guys too now. I mean, it's a lot of fun talking to so far we've gotten 3 out of how many?
20 plus, yeah. I think you should have like Nick and Matt on. I think that would be a really fun show. Nick Whitmore is a sculptor. He lives in the UK. And Matt O'Toole is the person that you met at LA Comic Con who works on all the movies. and he's I think his dad's Irish and his mom's British, but he actually lives in New Orleans.
Huh.
So if you get them together on the same thing, you may not be able to understand them. But they might probably use some words we don't know. But they're both characters that have great personalities, and so I think that would be a great duo. I don't know if the time will work for Nick being in the UK, but actually it might work better. But I think those would be like two really great. And then you guys haven't had Nikki and Gordon on, and then Lee's on here as well. So they're a hoot. Lee's a prolific writer. He's written a couple of novels that he refuses to let me read. So, in fact, a funny story about Lee is one time he wrote this whole scene, and then posted it in one of our chats. And we literally thought he just pasted and copied Lovecraft. And we're just like, wow. And, we all were impressed, but we didn't say anything. And he's just like, he thought we didn't think much of it. I was like, dude, I thought you just copied like a whole page from Lovecraft. I didn't realize, I didn't know it was yours. I was like, damn, that's fucking good. There's just so many people, and we haven't even talked. I mean, we talked about Rubus, but Abraham's a writer. Seth Tomlinson did the maps. I mean, there's some other sculptors like Arlen, and man, there's just so many people.
We would love to have, like, you throw them our way, we will definitely have them on here, because we are definitely a Savage Crucible show now. We absolutely love it. We cannot wait to get our hands on, a figure to play with it right here, because we're huge geeks, so of course we're gonna love toys.
Well, and the guys do work. They do work for other toy lines too. I know Nikki did some of the paint masters for this. I can't think of the name of it, Valor or something. That's going to have a Kickstarter starting like really soon, the next couple of weeks. So that would be really good. And Nick has sculpted for from Lego to Boss Fights to like so many different companies. So they can talk about all the other things they do. Their success is our success. So,
yeah, if you can line those guys up, we'll take them on to the show. Oh, and really quick, so graphic novels.
Yep.
Have you heard of Canto?
Canto, Canto?
Yeah.
Yes, I have actually.
If you get a chance to grab a hold of the volumes and read those things are actually really good. Okay. I mentioned it. I don't know how many times I've mentioned it and how many shows now, because we met the writer of the actual comic, and one, the artwork is amazing in the books. Two, the story is great. So if you get a chance to grab hold of those things, I think there's 6 volumes out, and there's actually different stories to Canto.
Oh, damn. Okay.
So check them out. Yeah.
Well,
I think you'll enjoy them. But Rob, it has been a pleasure. We'll definitely be staying in touch. You can, but like seriously, we'll be talking a lot more. I'll send you over that link. So not to get those two guys off the hook for not sharing it, but I'll make sure you have your own copy.
Awesome.
And yeah, we'll talk about getting everybody else on the show, and we'll line them up, and we'll talk more Savage Crucible and just everything else that you guys all do. And then when when that thing drops, we'll show it on the show, and we'll have you guys on again and talk more about more lines that come out. Because, like I said, the Geek Saga is 100% behind Savage Crucible. So there you go. I want everybody to hear that.
I appreciate it.
It's on the internet, so there you go. But all right, Rob, I'm going to let you go, and you have a good night, and I'm going to close out the show as soon as I let you go. So everybody, again, Rob from Savage Crucible, check them out on their Instagram and their website also. So Rob, you have a good night, man.
You too. Thanks, guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that was awesome. I really enjoyed that. And that's a lot of my face. I don't want to see that much face. But you guys, thanks everybody for coming on tonight. I mean, this was a great show. It was a lot of fun. I can't say enough good things about, Savage Crucible and all the guys so far that we've met. Looking forward to meeting more of you guys and having you guys on the show. Man, like I said, Rob brought everybody on tonight. I'm kind of felt good, but all right, guys. So that is it for me tonight on the show. I'm going to let you go because it looks like when we have these guys on, it's going to be a long one and it's a lot of fun. We go down those rabbit holes when we're talking about everything, but you guys don't forget, check us out on Instagram at the Geek Saga, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. I already said Instagram, right? If you guys have suggestions for shows or you want us to look up, say, a comic book, or you have an event that you want to promote, by all means, hit us up on Instagram. You can hit us up on DMs. I'm always checking the DMs to see what's coming up, or if you guys have a question or something like that. And also, if you guys want to, you can also hit us up on our Gmail, which is the Geek Saga 20. Don't forget the 20, because if you forget the 20, I don't know where that thing is going to go. But at the Geek Saga 20 at gmail.com, and by all means, hit us up there. And let's see what else. One last comment. Do we got something? What's this? Smash that like button. Yeah, smash that like. Alberto, thanks for saying smash that like button, but not a fan of saying smash that like. I don't know why. It doesn't flow. And subscribe. Thank you. Look at that. New guys coming on here telling everybody, wear protection. Double wrap it, guys, depending on who it is that you are with. But definitely, guys, subscribe. Thanks for everybody for being on the show. Come back next week. It's probably just going to be this face and the other face that comes on the show normally. But in 2 weeks, we actually have, I brought up the comic book, but Kanto, the writer of the new Ghostbuster comic book that's coming out. He's also writes for Saturday morning or Saturday Cartoon Adventures, Dungeons and Dragons, and it's the writer of those comic books, David Boer. I'm all tongue tied now. I think I'm running out of caffeine. It's that time. It's time for me to go memes, guys. But we will have David Boer coming on in 2 weeks. We're really excited because we did meet him at LA Comic Con. We did an interview with him, which was a great interview. Really nice guy. Great comics. I love reading his stuff. I actually just picked up issue number 3, or is it issue number 2? Yeah, issue number 2 of Dungeons and Dragons. I have that in my backpack. I got to read it over the weekend. It doesn't take me that long to read it. I'm just saying over this weekend, I'm going to read it because, I got all kinds of new comics. I'm really excited. But again, guys, we will be back here next week, 7:30. Same time as always, same channels, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitch. And I hope you guys all come on the show. And man, I love seeing all the banter going back and forth. And I love talking to you guys all. Look forward to talking more with you guys. If you guys enjoyed this, usually it's our show goes on for about an hour and a half. And we're always talking about like the latest news, the latest things that happened this week in geek history, all that stuff. Go back onto YouTube and you can see all our past episodes. So I guess that's it. I'm babbling now. It's again, that caffeine's starting to wear down and I'm just talking nonsense. But anyways, guys, you guys all have a good night. Again, the saga continues.